Could the Detroit Pistons move on from Alec Burks in a trade in the near future? We're going to talk about the rumors surrounding that and how likely it is in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. I just want to let you guys know, this is how much I love you guys. This is how much I love you guys and appreciate all your support. This is now my third take on this episode, on today's podcast. First two, my PC crashed on me in the middle of it. I hope you guys don't end up hearing one that says this is my fourth time because this one also crashes. So let's hope we get through take number 3 without my PC dying on me again. But yeah, first one I was 10 minutes in, second one I was 18 minutes in. But let's go ahead and repeat it all. I'll be just as joyful with you guys, I promise. In the first segment, I want to talk about some of the rumors, or the rumor talking about the Pistons possibly trading Alec Burks. And then I want to move into my new most likely Pistons to be traded list. I know we did that like a month ago or so, but my list has now traded for different reasons. So you guys will see that later. And then I want to wrap up the podcast with, has Killian Hayes actually earned a rotation spot already with the Pistons this upcoming year? We'll talk about all of that on today's episode. But I want to start off with, obviously, the big rumor. That is the Detroit Pistons, moving on from Alec Burks. So earlier on today, I'm recording this on the 17th, their Houston Rockets finally moved on from KPJ. They sent him to OKC, where OKC immediately waived him for obvious reasons. And the Rockets got back Victor Oladipo and 4 second-round picks. Or no. The Rockets, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. The Rockets sent KPJ and 4 second-round picks for Oladipo. My apologies. So Oladipo is now with the Houston Rockets. Jake Fischer of Yahoo Sports then came out with an article that revealed that the Houston Rockets then are using Oladipo and his contract, which is an expiring contract, to see if they can get a veteran to help them win even more games this year. Because we all know that Houston Rockets are in win-now mode. They're really just trying to push for the playoffs this year. And I can respect it. In this article by Jake Fischer, it says that the Houston Rockets are eyeing Malcolm Brogdon. They're interested in Taylor Horton-Tucker. And apparently they were in trade discussions with Alec Burks, or with the Detroit Pistons, on Alec Burks after they got Victor Oladipo. So there's interest by the Houston Rockets to get Alec Burks from the Detroit Pistons. Now, why would the Pistons do this? Well, first off, Victor Oladipo is on an expiring contract for $9.45 million. Alec Burks is on an expiring contract for $10 million. Right, basically a wash. The Pistons would be in the exact same situation with Victor Oladipo contract-wise and salary cap-wise with Victor Oladipo that they would be with Alec Burks. The second thing is Victor Oladipo would not, I don't think he's going to play this year. He's coming off that injury, I believe, what was it, left patella, hold on, let me make sure I got this. A torn patellar tendon in his left knee. And this is his third surgery, major surgery to his lower extremities in the last 4 years. So I don't think he's even going to play this year. And if he does technically come back this year, I don't think whatever team he's on, he's actually going to play minutes for. He's had too many injuries in 4 years. When he comes back, there's no way he's going to be ready to play and be more impactful than whoever's in front of him or whatever team. Honestly, I hate to say this because you don't like to see this at all. You'd like to see everyone healthy, but I think it's probably over for Victor Oladipo, to be honest. But anyways, the value around Victor Oladipo is simply around the fact that he's an expiring contract and the Houston Rockets can offer up second-round picks. So the Detroit Pistons would do this because they would be in the exact same situation that they are with Alec Burks contract-wise, except now they have more draft picks in their treasure chest. If you guys know me and have listened to the podcast, my biggest thing over the last few years on a team that's not going to win anything, on a team that's not going to make the playoffs, You should be trying to move your veterans for the most assets possible when they reach their peak value. I felt this way about Jeremy Grant. They waited too long, moved on from Jeremy Grant. I felt this way about Bojan, still do, and I feel this way about Alec Burks for a better reason, which we're about to get into. But basically, the Pistons, again, they would be in the same situation that they would be with Alec Burks, except now they're with more picks. It's not hurting them long-term money-wise, not hurting them immediately money-wise. You're getting picks for being in the same situation. Now, the comeback you guys are probably having right now is, well, Alec Burks is going to be playing in the rotation. He's actually going to be helping them. Oladipo's not going to be in the rotation. That's the difference. That's why it's going to hurt the Pistons. Well, the only reason why the Pistons would be doing this trade is because of what we talked about in literally the last podcast. It's crazy. Crazy how perfect this timing was. You know, almost like I maybe know something. Or, you know, maybe I know what I'm talking about. You feel me? On the last podcast, in the first segment, I talked about how I'm going to, I said I would not be surprised if you hear Monty Morris or Alec Burks' name pop up in trade rumors by the end of this month because of the play of Killian Hayes and Marcus Sasser. If the Detroit Pistons believe that Marcus Sasser is ready to play now, which Monty Williams has been nothing but, you know, has done nothing but compliment him in his game to the beat reporters and interviews after practices. He's done nothing but that. And we all know how he's felt about Killian Hayes. He's talked nothing but glowingly about Killian Hayes. And Killian Hayes has had a really good preseason. If they do believe in those two guys, the front office and Monty Williams, which is not too crazy of a belief, I think the front office clearly believes in them to a certain extent. They drafted both of them. And Monty Williams is a new coach that's come in and does nothing but sing their praises, basically. For a backcourt that is crowded, the one dude in that backcourt that you could move to try to create space for them is Alec Burks. I don't think they want to move on from Monty Morris. I doubt they would move on from Monty Morris because as we know, with Killian Hayes, he's very inconsistent. So even when he's played well, he's come back down to a really bad low at times. So you'd like to have someone that can play in place of him if he is to go back down to one of those low lows. And then Marcus Sasser is a rookie, so if he ends up getting to a point where he's really playing poorly at some point this season, you want to have a guy like Monty Morris. I'm not even saying that Monty Morris may not be in the rotation with those guys. He could be. Who knows? That's not what I'm just simply saying if Monty Morris were not to be in the rotation with those two guys, he's like the best insurance policy possible, basically, is what I'm saying. But I think he's going to be in the rotation somehow, but that's not the conversation we're going for right now. Just follow along here. Alec Burks frees up that space for them. So if Monty Williams really does believe that Killian Hayes has improved and the preseason is real, what he's done here, then I can see it happening. If he believes that Marcus Sasser can play and impact his team immediately with how well he shoots the basketball and how good of a defender he is on ball, I can see it happening. Again, Alec Burks was one of the worst defenders on the roster last year, and all we've heard from Monty Williams is, hey, we're not having any blow-by guys. If you get blow-by, you're not going to play. So I completely could see a future where he doesn't like, or let me not say doesn't like, would rather not play Alec Burks instead of Marcus Sasser, because Sasser brings point-of-attack defense, where Alec Burks just struggles on that end of the floor. So I can see it all. It makes too much sense, really, from that point of view, to move on from Alec Burks. Especially if you get picks, whether it's second-round picks or not. Getting picks to move on from him when you already have the two guys that you'd like to take his minutes behind him, no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. So it just boils down to this for me. If you do believe in Killian Hayes and Marcus Sasser, move Alec Burks immediately. Like, he needs to be moved instantly. I wouldn't be shocked if it happens in the next month if they do believe in Marcus Sasser and Killian Hayes. Especially the Houston Rockets. They want to give Victor Oladipo the same expiring contract. You don't get any money long-term. Doesn't change anything money-wise this year. And you get picks. Easy deal for me. Easy deal for me. I'm not even hesitating. Easy deal. For all the reasons I suggested. So I want to hear from you guys. Would you guys do this trade? Would you move on from Alec Burks? Do you believe enough in Killian Hayes and Marcus Sasser to move on from Alec Burks? Do you think the Pistons should? Let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. When we come back, I'm going to give you guys my new updated list on most likely Pistons to be traded. We'll talk about that when we come back. But first, I've got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, Birddogs. Birddogs make you look fantastic. The Birddog Stretch Khaki Shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Birddog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of stiff, restricting cotton. Birddogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khakis but stretches, so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice the movement. Birddogs also uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all throughout the day. And the best part about Birddogs, well, the best part is that they look amazing and it makes you feel good. But the next best part, it's good for any occasion out there. You want to go play basketball? Hey, Birddogs is great for you. You want to go out and get a workout in. You want to go to the pool? Birddogs, great for you. You want to feel comfortable at work? Birddogs is great for you. You want to go to golf? You want to go out on the date? You want to go out on an evening out with the boys? You feel me? Birddogs is perfect for just about any occasion. I promise you, you'll love it. So go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or enter promo code LockedOnNBA at checkout for a free Birddogs water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise you. Again, that's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. So, like I said, about a month ago, before, obviously way before the preseason started, but probably I think over a month ago, a little bit over it, we made a list. Most likely Pistons to be traded this season. This list is going to be a little different. I'm not making this list on who's most likely Piston to be traded by the deadline. I'm making a list most likely Pistons to be traded in the near future. And when I say the near future, like in the next 30 days. By the end of this month or by the end of November, maybe at the beginning of December. Like that area. Not at the deadline, waiting all the way to February. I'm talking about like in the middle, at the very early part of their season, that will actually impact their season. Whatever direction they go with that trade. Not one at the deadline when they're selling off and, it's basically tanking after, not something like that. I think there's a very strong possibility the Pistons make a move or two in the next, month and a half. So here's my list for that. And if you guys agree or disagree with that, let me know in the comment section down below and why, or over on Twitter at KukaHill, obviously. But number one on this list, for the reasons we just talked about, I have Alec Burks. Don't need to go too far into this. We just spent the whole first segment talking about it. If the Pistons believe in Killian Hayes, if they believe in Marcus Sasser, Alec Burks makes the most sense to move on from. And I want to throw this out there. Monty Williams was asked after the last practice that, about Jaden Ivey adjusting to his new role coming off the bench. And he went out of his way to say, well, I haven't made a starting lineup yet, so I don't want to say new role just yet. Now, do I believe Jaden Ivey's probably coming off the bench? I'd say as of right now, yes, because actions speak louder than words. And even when Cade Cunningham was out the game or out of preseason game, they made sure to keep Ivey in that role to get him accustomed to it. So I do think it's likely that Jaden Ivey is coming off the bench. However, I could also see if they do want to move on from Alec Burks, they're using Alec Burks in the starting lineup through these first few games of preseason to try raise his value up a little bit, get people to see him playing, and see if they can get a team to bite so they can then elevate Alec or Jaden Ivey back into the starting lineup next to Cade Cunningham. And now off the bench, you can run Monty, Marcus Sasser, Killian Hayes, Joe Harris, and Bagley. I think that makes complete sense. That really could work. 100%. I think that could be fantastic. So, number one, easily, by far, Alec Burks. I think it makes way too much sense to do so. And I think if I had to bet my money, I think it's probably likely he gets moved. So, Alec Burks, number one. Number two, James Wiseman. James Wiseman, I believe, is probably going to lose this backup 5 battle to Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley's played great in both games. James Wiseman looked really good in the second half of this second game. But again, and look, people can take this, Wiseman fans can take this as hate all they want. I really don't care anymore. But the simple fact is this. Wiseman's play style is different from Bagley's play style. And what the Pistons need out of a backup 5 is not the play style James Wiseman is. And like I've said before, I kind of feel bad for him because he hasn't really gotten a chance to play his way through his whole career because he's been injured and the team he was drafted to was trying to win championships. So I do kind of feel bad for him. But it's very clear that James Wiseman is just more comfortable posting up on offense. When he sets screens to roll, he often doesn't roll all the way to the basket. He often rolls into a post-up. He rolls into the middle of the key and waits for the ball. It's just the player he is. He wants the ball in his hands to take mid-range jumpers from the high post. He wants to attack off the dribble. He wants to attack guys out of the post. Like, that's what he wants to do. Marvin Bagley has played well just by being a pick-and-roll threat. He doesn't ask for the ball. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. He doesn't need to be creating for himself. He understands that. He accepts that. He goes out there. He catches lobs. He finishes off offensive rebounds. He finishes off dump-offs. Plays hard. That's it. And he does it so efficiently, he's almost a bucket per minute. Like, that's how good of a finisher he is around the basket, how good of an athlete he is. He creates those opportunities for himself so easily because of it. That's how effective he can be in a low-usage role. That's what the Pistons need out of their backup five. Not a high-usage guy, not a guy that needs the ball in their hands. They need a guy who's low usage because they have other guys that they need to see have the ball in their hands. So that's why I have Wiseman number 2 on here. Because I think he's going to lose the battle to Bagley probably, and they'll cut their losses with James Wiseman, move him on, and let him get a chance somewhere else, maybe with another team that will allow him to, get post-ups and try to do stuff from a high post and, stuff like that. So I got Wiseman number 2. Number 3, I got Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes has played well through preseason. Is it possible that they're letting him play throughout preseason and talking him up so they can move him? Definitely is possible. Is it possible that the Pistons want to move him to free up space in the backcourt for maybe Marcus Sasser? I don't think Killian Hayes is really the direct competition for Marcus Sasser. I mean, he could be, but I don't think he is the direct competition. But if he is, that could definitely be the case. The fact of the matter is this. Killian Hayes is entering his 4th season into the NBA. He struggled through the first 3 years of his NBA career. Last year, he had some really good spots, but he was inconsistent. With the Pistons trying to turn the page of, trying to win games this year, Killian Hayes, look, from all accounts, I've heard nothing but great things from people around the situation. Coaching staff has loved him. He's looked great in preseason. But does that remove him off the trade block? No. Does it mean he's just impossible to trade? No. I think he's still probably the 3rd likeliest to be traded simply because they have Monty Morris, because they have Alec Burks, because they have Jane Ivey, because they have Marcus Sasser, because they have Kate Cunningham. Do I think Killian's going to be moved? If I had to put my money on it, probably not. I don't think so because Monty loves him so much, it seems like, and he fits a role that he does things that no other guard on the team does, which is play defense and play make. Both. He does both of them and can guard higher than his position. He can guard 1, 2s, 3s, and he can switch on 4s and handle himself. So I don't think they're going to move on from Killian, but I do think he's probably the 3rd likeliest on here if I had to make a list. So Killian's number 3 for those reasons I just gave. Number 4. Bojan Bogdanovic. I have Bojan at 4 because, again, once you get past the first 2, I don't think that these guys are probably going to be moved. But Bojan is on the list at all because if a really good deal comes across the deal and a team finally reaches the asking price the Pistons have had for Bojan, they'll pull the trigger. But I don't see that happening, and the Pistons I don't think are going to be shopping him like they were last year. I think they're just going to hold on to him. They're cool with him being on the squad. They're going to play, they're going to play games. Hopefully he helps them win games. And then if somewhere along the way, like maybe in the next month, the team's like, you know what? You're right. We love Bojan. Bojan is worth 2 first-round picks and a young player. Here you go, take him. The Pistons will be like, oh, okay, thank you, about time, and then they'll move him. But that's the only scenario where I see that happening. And because Bojan does have value, obviously, and he is a viable player, that's why he's over the other 2 guys, because he simply has more value. Teams will like him more, so if a team ends up wanting to reach that asking price, I could see them moving on from Bojan then. But again, just like with Killian Hayes, I don't see them moving Bojan. Still, if I had to put my money on it, I think it's probably like around 10%, I think, right now, if I had to put like a percentage on it. Next one, but all 6 of these guys. These 6 guys, I think, are capable of being traded. The other ones, if I don't name them, I don't think they have a chance of being traded. The 5th guy, Monty Morris. He's injured right now. He hasn't been playing in preseason. Killian Hayes has looked really good. Marcus Sasser's looked really good. If they end up wanting to keep Alec Burks and Monty Morris just can't get healthy and they want to give Killian Hayes the minutes because of how well he's playing as the backup point guard, then maybe they just move on from Monty Morris. Do I think it's likely? No. But is it possible? Yes. So Monty Morris is number 5 for me. And then number 6 is Marvin Bagley. If Wiseman were to beat Marvin Bagley, out for that number 5 spot, it would shock me. But then also, I could see them then moving on from Bagley to let him get an opportunity elsewhere. I think Bagley could probably play for a few teams in the NBA, and he probably shouldn't be just sitting buried on a bench on a team that's winning, maybe 30 games this year behind James Wiseman. I don't think that's probably what they want from him, but that's not what Marvin Bagley is going to want. So if he does end up losing this battle to James Wiseman, which I really just can't see happening, if it does happen, I do think Bagley's then a candidate to get traded. So that's my top 6 list. I only have 6 guys on there. I don't think anyone else on the roster is really capable of being traded for real. But if you guys disagree with that, if there's someone on the list that should have, or someone that's not on the list that you guys feel like should have been on the list, definitely let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at KukaHill. And then also let me know, obviously, how you guys feel about my list. You guys know how, for those of you guys who watch First Take It All, you guys know how Stephen A has like Stephen A's list. We gotta turn this into what do we gotta call it? I need you guys' help to create a name like Kuz. This is so corny, but what about like Kuz Cool List? That I felt so cringe saying that just now into the mic. But that's like the only one you guys gotta help me out. We gotta find out like a name for this like list. We might make like a weekly segment, and if we can figure out a good name. If you guys come up with a good name and send it to me, we'll make this like a weekly segment where I just make a list every week and you guys grade it. I think that actually would be really fun. If I made a list every week of something and then you guys graded the list, it'd be super cool, actually. I actually, now I want it to be a segment. We're going to have to do it. But the only way we do it is if you guys give me a cool name to call it. I'm submitting Koo's Cool List. It's cringe. It's very corny. But hey, that's my submission. If you guys come up with a better one, we'll do it. So let me know that in the comment section down below too. Or again, over on at KukaHill on Twitter. So when we come back, has Killian Hayes actually earned a rotation spot with the Detroit Pistons already? We'll talk about that and why I don't believe that's the case when we come back. But first, I've got to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, FanDuel. Snap into this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Last time I checked FanDuel, the Detroit Pistons over-under on the season was 28.5 wins. Do you guys think the Pistons are going to go out for 28.5 wins? Do you guys think they're going to go under it? I'm sure there's a lot. I see a lot of optimistic Pistons fans. If you guys feel that confident, that positive about it, hey, 28.5 should be easy. Also, FanDuel, going all the way back to the beginning of this NFL season, was very high on your Detroit Lions. They had them likely to win the division. They had them likely to win 10-plus games. And 6 weeks through the NFL season, they are 5-1. Maybe FanDuel really does see the future. Head over to FanDuel, man. A lot of fun. They have all kinds of things for you guys to do there. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and kick off the NFL season. Again, FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get $200 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this one on. Killian Hayes, very divisive player in the Pistons community. If he were to score 50 points, I have to believe 90% of the fan base would be mad that he was the one that scored 50 points. If Killian Hayes were to win some kind of award at some point in his career, I have to assume that 90% of the fan base would be furious, would just be furious at all. If Killian Hayes is in the NBA past this season, have to assume that 90% of the Piston fan base will be just furious. So I'm well aware that the Pistons fan base, majority of the fan base, it seems like, hates Killian Hayes. But the person who doesn't hate Killian Hayes, Monty Williams. Monty Williams has done nothing but sing Killian Hayes' praises all offseason. Or not all offseason, I'm going to say that. All training camp and all preseason. And if you guys remember, during the offseason, I came on here, I was telling you guys, hey, this is a player that Monty's going to love. I'm hearing that Killian Hayes has been in Detroit more than he's ever has been in his career in the offseason. He's putting in they're saying that he's putting in a different type of work. They're saying he's carrying himself differently. Like the front office was noticing, the coaching staff was noticing, his teammates were noticing. And now training camp comes around. He's playing really well, according to Monty Williams. Preseason comes around. See if he backs that up. He does. He's playing really well in the preseason. Attacking the basket. He looks much quicker. His dribble moves look more synchronized with his footwork. He's getting to the rim a lot more. He's finishing at the rim better. He's hitting his pull-up middies. However, the one thing he has not done through 2 preseason games yet is hit multiple threes within a game. Now, in the first game, he took 1 3. In the second game, he took 4 3. He technically took 5. I'm not counting the 5th one. The 5th one was a shot clock bomb. He had to heave up with 0.5 seconds left. Someone threw it to him. He had to just throw it over 2 people. I'm not counting those. He takes more of those than anyone I've ever seen. I don't know why he continues to take them. He needs to just hold on to them and take it to turnover. Like, I take a turnover every possession. I'd look at Monty and be like, look, they're not going to keep passing me this shot clock bomb. It's not going to happen. If you guys play 2K with me, you guys go to the rec. Don't go out there. This is my cardinal rule. Do not go out there and ISO in that rec, and then when there's 1 second left, you can't get a shot off now. Kick it to me in the corner. Expect me to take that bomb for you. We'll just take the turnover. We'll get back on D. I ain't taking it for you. We'll get back on D and keep it pushing. That's what I would be doing if I was Killian Hayes with these shot clock bombs. Hey, Monty, it ain't my fault. Talk to them. They need to stop passing it to me. They can shoot it. I ain't shooting it no more. But anyways, he took 4 threes in this past game, made 1 of them. He's yet to hit multiple threes within 1 game. Now, obviously, this is an incredibly small sample size, 5 threes, and 4 within 1 game. Like, it's a very small sample size. However, this is the thing with Killian Hayes. I do not believe he's earned a rotation spot. 1, because it's 2 games through preseason. He needs to play well throughout the rest of preseason as well. 2, he needs to continue to play well in practice and impress Monty, which, yesterday, I'm recording this on 17th. Last night, he was asked apparently about K playing off ball. He said, yeah, actually, he was playing off of Killian today. So, hey, take that for what you will, dog. So he sounds like he's playing really well in training camp and preseason and in practices. Monty loves him. But he has to keep doing that. And the biggest thing is he has to hit multiple threes in a game. I need to see him hit multiple threes in the game because if Killian Hayes became a better finisher around the basket and got to the rim more and got to the free throw line more and hit pull-up middies, that's his sweet spot. But he added the rim finishing and free throw rate and proved that. Do I think he'd be very clearly an NBA player? Yes, I do. I think if he's able to do that, he's very clearly going to have a market somewhere and someone's going to want him because that's an impactful NBA player, especially with his defense and playmaking. If he's able to get to the rim more, finish more, and get more free throws, that will help his efficiency. Do I think that will get him a spot on the Pistons this season? I'm not sure because they want shooting. They want shooting. They need that spacing. So even if Killian Hayes actually has improved, like it looks like through preseason, at getting to the rim more, at finishing around the rim, drawing free throws, and he continues to hit his pull-up middies like he's been, I still don't know if that would be enough because of the limited spacing that he would cause. So he has to be able to hit threes, or I don't think he's going to be in the rotation. So that's really all it comes down to me. So I'm not. The crazy thing is, I feel like people who are unbiased that listen to this podcast, I haven't been going crazy over Killian Hayes' play. I've been constantly saying, hey, let's not go too far with it. All I've done is simply echo what Monty has said. Whatever Monty's done and said, that's all I've echoed on here. My own opinion, yeah, I'm happy to see Killian Hayes playing better. I've believed in him. I still believe in him. I think he can be a really good player in the NBA. He has too good of a foundation. But he needs to prove it for more than 2 preseason games and needs to show that he can shoot threes or he's not going to play much for this team. He has to shoot threes. He just has to. If he can't hit threes, I don't know, man. I think that will hold him out of the rotation, even if he's improved in those other areas. He has to be able to hit threes. So that's where I'm at with Killian Hayes. I don't think he's already earned a rotation spot. I don't think everyone should just automatically be penciling him in. Now, if you're making guesses like we did in the last podcast and reading the tea leaves and reading what we've seen and heard, then yeah, you can say, okay, it looks like Killian Hayes is going to be in the rotation, but guaranteeing it, writing it in pen, and without it being capable of being erased, no, I don't think that's the case at all. He still has to earn it. It's just looking like it's trending towards that way. But I don't think he's earned it yet at all. I just noticed on the YouTube, if you guys are watching this on YouTube on the side, I have Killian a rotation spot. I didn't put the word earned. Look, like I told you guys at the beginning, this crashed 3 times on me. This is my 3rd try with the podcast. You guys got to give me a break. This PC almost got punted out the window. I almost looked like Sam Martin for a minute. Like it was about to be some tough days for the Locked On Pistons podcast and all you guys viewing. It was about to be tough. But anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Till next time, peace out.